Once upon a time, some of you may recall, there were 3 channels for television. Soon, 3 became 300. And now our choices are quite literally almost limitless. We begin our preview of this new season with Califasane.
Fishy, fishy, fishy! One fish?
For more than 4 decades,
Cookie!
PBS and Sesame Street were inseparable.
The letter B! B! Beat it, will ya?
When the show was first started, it literally was supposed to be preschool and TV.
How many of you have heard of school?
Universal Pre-K was called Sesame Street, and PBS back in that day.
Steve Youngwood is the CEO of Sesame Workshop.
It is a responsibility, but it's a fun responsibility.
It's a big responsibility.
Hey, Count, how are you?
Though older episodes still air on public television,
2, 3.
the beloved children's show moved to HBO, the premium cable network, in 2015. 4 years later, it moved again to HBO Max, an online streaming service.
Oh, hi! Elmo's with his mommy.
Youngwood says today's toddlers are very sophisticated consumers.
You know, they don't understand tune into this time or that time. They expect the content to fit their schedule and their lifestyle.
There's something happening.
Something cool.
During the pandemic, there was an influx of viewers. The so-called streaming wars heated up between services like HBO Max, Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV+, Hulu, and our parent company's Paramount+.
People are watching more than ever.
Alex Weprin writes for The Hollywood Reporter.
It's just that watching is spread across more apps, more channels, more platforms. It's all fragmented in a way that it just wasn't before.
He says what we're watching affects how we watch it.
When it comes to news and sports, people still watch that live. And so those are the things that are kind of keeping the traditional television business models alive, whether it's broadcast or cable.
And the traditional model is all about appointment viewing, right?
Yeah, it's getting people to tune in at 9 p.m. on Thursday, or if there's a breaking news event, to kind of watch in rolling coverage.
To major advertisers, catching everyone around the TV is not just about togetherness.
They want millions of people watching the same thing at the same time, all watching the same car ad, kind of something that you really can't match in streaming where the viewership is diffused across thousands of titles.
More choice for subscribers means more challenges for the streaming services as viewers pick between the many options. This year, Netflix announced that its era of seemingly endless growth was over.
Does that mean that people are getting a little disenchanted with the content, or are they just running out of humans?
I think it's partly because there's a lot more competition now. Netflix for years kind of had streaming to themselves. There were other players, but no one had the depth of the library that they had.
Of course, those libraries aren't quite as permanent as the term would suggest. This summer, many Sesame Street fans were startled when HBO Max pulled 200 episodes from its archive. Steve Youngwood suggested the move may have been related to changes at HBO's former parent company, Warner Media.
They're going through, as you know, a new merger with Discovery, and they're going through some shifts. But overall, Nielsen will show you that we're a top 15 show in the whole service.
Finding there's a limit to the number of subscriptions viewers will pay for, streamers are looking for ways to cut back.
The average viewer has between 3 and 4 subscriptions, according to Deloitte. And that's a problem because there's a lot more than 3 or 4 streaming services out there.
So it seems like one of the promises of Netflix and some of these other networks was that finally we wouldn't have to watch ads anymore.
Yeah, and that's certainly changing. That's increasingly every streaming service, including Netflix, is going to launch advertising.
Ad-supported options can be cheaper or even free, like Amazon's Freevee and Paramount's Pluto TV. Essentially a throwback to the way TV used to be.
The old business model of television was so good and generated so much cash and so much profit, and the new model is actually so much harder to make a profit on because the cost of adding one more subscriber is so much higher.
Which may be one reason why Amazon Prime recently became the exclusive home of the NFL's Thursday Night Football, an example of a streaming service starting to act more like an old-fashioned TV network. Throughout the industry, Weprin predicts increasing consolidation, and as for those limitless program options,
In the old days, they used to say about cable, 200 channels and nothing to watch. And sometimes it still feels like there's nothing to watch.
You know, some things always hold true, and in theory, there should be something you want to watch. But in practice, if you have 10,000 titles to choose from, how much time are you going to want to spend looking for something? People just want to watch something.
Often, something familiar.
Oh, hey! Welcome to Sesame Street. We are having some
How
fun.
much do networks even matter? Everyone knows Sesame Street, everyone loves Sesame Street, and I suspect that a lot of people would follow Sesame Street wherever it went.
Sesame Street is arguably the most iconic brand in children's television. If they left HBO Max and went to Netflix or Paramount Plus, there's no doubt that people would watch Sesame Street on those services. They're in that unique position where the brand of the show, Sesame Street, is actually more recognizable than the streaming services that provide them.
Sesame Street's not going anywhere.
Steve Youngwood of Sesame Workshop tries not to worry too much about the streaming wars.
Sesame Street was brought to you today by the letter S.
We're good at doing what we do really well, which is making high-quality educational content. We will partner with PBS, we will partner with HBO Max, and if we do something, and if we do something right, we know we will be noticed, and we know it will matter.
Goodbye. Okay, now.
Yeah, now that's satisfying ending.